connected innovation for us is really at the center of everything that we do. It really bridges how we think about what customers are trying to solve, clients are trying to solve, the partners that we choose, and then our approach and how we really iterate on solving those problems. So for us, we announced earlier today our partnership with Trade Desk for our self-service offering. And it's really just a great example of that. It's finding like-minded partners, being really focused on how we understand the problem from our clients. We do a ton of what I call soul searching, but it's really industry research and being obsessed of what really is the problem, what's really the friction points that we need to kind of unlock. And that's what we're bringing to market today is just connected innovation on those kind of three fronts and honing in on what makes CMX really different, which is absolutely our base of customers. We're a part of a much larger organization, CVS, and they sit at the center of health and wellness. And within that, we have access to an incredible differentiated audience, 74 million extra care members, of which we have access of their data, 5 million daily visits in store, and then about 139 million monthly visitors on online and web. So we definitely know what people are shopping for, and we're able to build audiences. So again, connecting with the right partner to give that access, to get with the right brand suppliers for unlocking kind of this alpha test is really what innovation's all about. It's making sure that it's end to end.
So the retail media space is a very connected ecosystem.
It is.
There are lots of technology players, partnerships, integrations. How did you go about building out your proposition into this marketplace?
So that's a great question. It's a very connected space that sits on the hub of data and where the shopper is ultimately going. So your channel or the space in which you can actually reach the end user. But the way in which the system is set up, it's very fragmented. So the technology and your approach and how you're able to bridge that fragmentation across data and across the experiences to make sure that you're actually able to identify the customer is essential. My career has always been built on being super client focused and outcome focused. So we spend a ton of time on just identifying what the problem is and being super committed to being iterative and test oriented and experience obsessed is what I usually say, to make sure that we can really shape course for what could be within the next iteration of what we deliver.
So you obviously have incredible audience data, which is hugely valuable to you and your customers and clients. How have you engaged with the wider identity ecosystem?
So we're doing a number of things right now within shaping and kind of future-proofing how we think about our data. So as we look into a cookieless environment, we stand on unique first-party data. So creating that ecosystem, creating those right partners of how we're going to bridge the first and kind of third-party aspects of what we do is essential. We have a really strong roadmap of what we'll deliver in the second half of the year. Some of what I can and cannot share, but what we've delivered up until this point is really strong partnerships that leverage that shared practice. So one example is LiveRamp and Pinterest. We have been working with LiveRamp since our beginning, and they have helped us hone in on unlocking our data, delivering on segmented audiences, and really starting to really showcase our information differently within the incrementality of measurement. So without those partners, without that kind of delivery, it would be really difficult to kind of shape something different.
So what are you learning about how media exposures drive retail sales?
So that is the biggest question, and that's ultimately what we're trying to kind of change. We heard of a number of panelists this morning of just what is the friction points for investing today, and that's ultimately measurement. What is incremental based on your campaign, based on what's organic? How do you really start to shape the value of what we can deliver? And it's got to be end to end, and having that end to end look around data and connectivity is going to be critical.
Thinking about the future then, what role do you think standards will play in supporting the growth of this segment?
So standards are the missing gap here. As an industry, we really don't have the same definition. We don't have the same metrics in how we define it. So sometimes you're talking apples and oranges, and in that makes talking about success and solutions really difficult. Earlier this year, we were kind of first to market with IAB and adopting that standardization within measurement. So that's our first step, but we wanted to show to our clients, to our partners, this is important to us, because it's not going to just change what we do at CMX. It absolutely will. It's going to make sure that we're differentiated. We're going to make sure that we're delivering value, but it's going to up the game across the industry because it's not going to be opaque anymore. It's going to be really clear, this worked and this didn't. And here's a clear comparison view. So standardization is essential, and that was why it was one of our first steps for 2024.
So finally, you oversee product. I'm guessing that your days are filled with conversations about AI.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about how you're planning to use AI in the future.
I'm most excited about AI. I mean, for me, we have been talking about AI for the past decade and a half. Is not really new. You've seen a variety of different industries leverage machine learning, leverage audience automation, process efficiencies. I think now there's so much investment happening across the board on what AI can unlock that you're going to see it in places that you haven't before. You're going to see it in how we think about robust implementation for creative, how we think about it for process improvements on the campaign cycle, when we think about optimizations, all AI driven, that very much can be automated. So I'm really excited about AI and its amplifier effect of the change that we're going to see, because I know we're all seeking this disruption, we're seeking to be at the forefront of this disruption, but man, AI is going to be really pulling us along, and without the answer, or at least trying, is going to be key, and that's how we're thinking about it, is where can AI probe that it hasn't. I know it's getting a lot of buzz right now, but it's been if you're in product, it's always been a part of your thought process. But now it's really a game on moment where you want to make sure that you're unlocking the right areas to see real change in a different time horizon than we ever have before. So I'm very excited about AI.
It'll be exciting to see what comes next. Thank you so much for sharing some thoughts with us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.